Serious allegations emerging today of a cover-up at the highest reaches of Penn State University, as that university's former coach, Jerry Sandusky, is now being tried on child sex abuse charges. State prosecutors are now saying that new documents released in the case suggest that Penn State's former president, not to mention vice president and athletic director, those two we already knew about. We're talking about the president here, Spanier on the left, was aware of Mr. Sandusky's alleged transgressions for more than a decade, but decided it would not be, quote, humane to report Sandusky to police. So, could this man now face criminal charges of his own? Joining me now, Wendy Murphy, former prosecutor and victims' rights advocate, and Mike Bako, sports reporter for thedailynational.com. Mike, let me start with you on the facts before I go to Wendy for the legal analysis. This is disgusting to me that the allegations are that the president of the university was told of the 2001 alleged rape for which Sandusky is on trial, among other crimes right now, was told about it, and that his reason for not going to the authorities was it would be inhumane to Sandusky?
If you could actually believe that. He and athletic director Tim Curley were on that email exchange together, and you have to keep in mind that Sandusky was already out of the program at that time. He was not an assistant coach. He was still involved. He was still at the practice facility. We still saw him there all the time. But from their standpoint, they're probably looking at it from the fact that Penn State football is like a corporation. If this leaked, just look at the firestorm and look at everything that came down on them now when it happened. Think about what would have happened 10 years ago. They had 10 years of growth. They had 10 years of revenue. They were looking at the football program as if it was a business entity.
But what do we know about this Spanier, who's now gone in the wake of the Sandusky scandal? He's gone from the university. What do we know about it? Because one, you have to think you would be inhuman to hear an allegation that a little boy was being raped by one of your former football coaches, and you decided, let's not tell police, it would be inhumane to the rapist.
Yeah, you can't get into his mind, but you have to keep in mind that Sandusky was someone that was around the team the entire time, so they became friends, they became familiar with each other. It's almost a suspension of disbelief in some way. The same thing with Joe Paterno. Why, with all that evidence from many, many years ago, did he not come forward? Because you didn't want to believe it. They didn't want to believe that Sandusky was capable of all this, and they just compounded it year after year after year by not bringing this to the forefront. And who knows how many more victims happened in this 10-year time period.
And no one who knew is to be excused, but you can almost say there's a difference between the head football coach who worked with Sandusky for all those years and at least had information that this is not in his head, this isn't the person I know, versus the head of the university, Wendy, the head of the university who's supposed to be looking out for the university, never mind the little boys. And you tell me whether this guy could now face criminal charges for failing to report this to the cops.
Oh, you bet, and he should, and I think he will. 6 months ago, more than 6 months ago, I wrote an article for the Patriot Ledger explaining exactly why Graham Spanier should face criminal charges. I mean, it seemed pretty clear to me back then that the grand jury probably thought he lied when he said, I was told the shower incident was just harmless horseplay. Even Joe Paterno, everybody got on Joe Paterno. He told the grand jury, no, I told the university president this was a sex crime, a sexual assault. And then remember, prosecutors back then were asked, is Paterno a target of your investigation? Are you looking to go after him or charge him? And they said, no. Are you looking to charge Graham Spanier, the president? Answer, silence. I think they've known for a long time that Graham Spanier probably committed perjury, definitely covered this up. And, forgive me, but the word humane to describe cover-up for a university so that they can avoid scandal, oh, I'd like to see a jury make a ruling on that email.
Who hears an allegation of child rape